He had the little jars.
Yeah.
Dimes, nickels, pennies. You know, one jar was for vacation and one was for his suits. Because he only bought suits every 10 years.
Yeah. Just very meticulous.
Yeah, and that's how he was. And he'd take his dress shoes off after church on Sunday. He had shoe horns.
Yeah.
Those wooden shoe horns that you put it on. Yeah. So, you know what? That's just how it was.
Yeah.
You know, but I never felt, my mother and father both worked. We always lived in a home.
Yeah.
You know, we never lived in an apartment.
Right.
I didn't live in an apartment till I married him.
Yeah.
Downgrade.
No, but yeah, seriously. Yeah.
So, you would.
No, go
So Sandy's family's intact. She's eating every day. I'm eating because I'm working.
Yeah.
You know, so I got money.
Yeah.
But by the time I get to high school, the shoe shine business dried up because you heard of white flight.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I was making $1 an hour. I worked 4 hours a day. Okay. From 10:30 to 2:30, I make about $4.
Yep.
The shoe shine business dried up to the point where no one came in on a Saturday for a shine.
Right. It's the busiest days typically.
Nobody came in.
Yeah.
So that just dried. I mean, it really dried up. So that dried up my money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then I was eating on $1 a day.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. But back then, $1 went a lot further than $1
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
so
for
I
sure,
could,
yeah.
I could probably for $1. Well, I'll tell you how it went. I had 25 cents for breakfast, so that was a Hostess Twinkie and some milk.
Yeah.
25 cents for lunch, that was subsidized, and then 50 cents for dinner at Texas Hot, which is part of Clarissa Street now, you have to understand.
Yeah.
Because people leave Clarissa Street, they go to Texas Hot.
Yeah.
Or they go to Snuffy's, it depends on which way you went.
Yeah.
But then I would eat at the Texas Hot, a hot dog and a side of mac. That was through 10th grade, I think. And then I started working at Sam's, which was by St. Lucy's. Now, St. Lucy's isn't there, but it's at Prospect and Truth.
Okay. Yep.
Of course, she went to school.
Yeah.
And I did stock clerk. And my income went from $10 a day to $10 a week to $35 a week.
Oh, nice.
Then I was in high cotton.
Yeah.
Money in my pocket.
Yeah.
I was eating too.
Yeah. And so, like, were you able to get your own place, or how did that go? Where did you stay?
And my grandparents gave me a room,
Yeah.
which I was really appreciative of, and I was really appreciative my mother was out of town because she'd have been beating my ass the way I was acting up in school. Because I essentially quit school in 2nd grade. Now, you're not going to understand that, but I couldn't tolerate the Rochester City School District.
Right.
I couldn't tolerate the pace, and I couldn't tolerate the repetition.
Right.
And I said, F this, I'm out of here. And so I wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
My report, and the Rochester City School District will never be able to say they educated me, because you look at my report card, you think I'm an OE.
Yeah.
You know, I'm special ed someplace. I was 142 out of 144 students.
Yeah.
That's my place in class.
Yeah.
I was 142. So you're never going to say you educated me.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the way, but that happened, and like I said, I was glad my mother was in town, because she had been beating my ass and she wouldn't let me play sports because I didn't have my grades up.
Yeah.
But back then it was Regents.
Yeah.
So all you had to do was pass the Regents exam.
And you were done.
You didn't have to pass anything during the year.
Right.
You passed the Regents exam, you passed the course.
Right.
I got this.
Yeah.
I ain't doing nothing. I'm studying for the exam.
Yep. That's what it
Okay.
is. Yeah. And then you were able to complete it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what was life like for teenagers in the Clarissa Street area, and what were like your favorite activities?
Yeah, you guys talked about a little bit about it. You know, we talked about the sports. We talked about the marching band. What else?
Yeah.
Do you think?
I didn't go out the house.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, the girls just did not go out the house. They were not allowed out the house.
Yeah. So just in that.
Play in the yard sometimes.
Yeah.
If you had a yard,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
if your parents could see you in the yard.
Yeah.
If they couldn't see you in the yard, you couldn't play in the yard.
Yeah.
No. And that's really just, you know, I mean, we played dolls, and then we lived in a house on Bronson, but the houses and the rooms were so big, and we were so small.
Yeah.
You know, we could actually take our tricycles and ride them around in the attic. You know, that's where our playroom was, in the attic, because it was a full attic.
Yeah.
You know, so we'd play up there. You know, when I go to Mom Eunice, she used to have these beautiful dolls that she had made in France.
Yeah.
And I could sit on the bed and play with them.
Yeah.
Oh, they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
When she passed, I don't know who had got those dolls, but I wanted one of those dolls. I just loved those, and they were like the French dolls with the, the satin dresses and the candy curls, and they were just beautiful. They were absolutely gorgeous. So I could play with those, and then you could sit on the steps and play jacks.
Yeah.
So long as you were on the porch, you had to do it on the porch. You couldn't go off the porch.
Yeah, as long as you buy the house, near the house, in the house.
Yeah, couldn't go off the porch. I mean, until 13, still sitting on the porch playing with dolls.
Yeah.
And the boy from Madison came across the street and said something to me, and my father said, "That's it, we're gone." We moved to around the point.
Oh man.
Where you had to pay extra 10 cents. You passed the fare limit.
Yeah.
Oh, James. He had to put his 10 cents in there. Yeah. Well, getting back to cooking, them lots cooked.
Yeah.
I mean, they could cook, I can cook too now. I can tell you, I can put my foot in and turn it all around. That's why I say I made collard greens with smoked neck bones.
Yeah.
And what was that? Red beans and rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw down.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So I want to answer your question because I had a very different. I was outside all the time.
Yeah. Versus being in the house.
Yeah. Because my grandmother wouldn't let me out till 11, so I go around the house and set the clocks an hour and a half ahead, including her watch. I said, Nana, it's 11 o'clock. And I hit the street. And she'd have to get me with a broom to come back in.
Yeah.
And late at night, because we'd be out on the fellows would be out on the corner singing.
Yeah.
When I started singing, they give me the eye like, you just need to be quiet.
Maybe just to hang out.
But that was the kind of neighborhood we had. We sang on the street corners, okay?
Right.
We played baseball, all day.
Mm-hmm.
As teenagers, ClarissaSt was, like I said, you see your girlfriends, classmates.
Yeah.
You see them. You see your friends from school, so you're running into them all the time.
Yeah.
And my introduction to teen life actually came as a preschooler because the parking lot across the street from me that I talked about, the RIT parking lot, Montgomery Center would rent and have dances there.
Okay.
So now I'm
Even
at the fence.
Yeah.
Trying to get in, but I'm too young to get in. But that's how I was introduced to the teens and the comfort of that neighborhood. And like I said, we play sports. And the toughest, that needs to be said, the toughest guys in the neighborhood were the athletes. There were no tough guys.
Yeah.
The guys that walk around in the gang weren't tough.
Yeah.
The athletes had the skills.
Right.
Okay, and so we didn't have gangs like, some people will tell you we had gangs. I say we didn't.
Yeah.
People had, they were affiliated and they called themselves gangs.
Right.
Well, I lived in Chicago for a while. I can tell you the people here weren't gangs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had gangs in Chicago.
Yeah.
For real. But it was a real comfortable neighborhood. In fact, one of my friends, who he was first friend coming out the house, about 5 years old. I still go to his mother's house. She's still alive. I still go and visit her. I was just there before Christmas.
Yeah, brought her at 0.7.
Yeah. So it was that kind of neighborhood. It's just neighborhood. There was money on the streets. I'm gonna explain that.
Right.
There was money on the streets in the early 50s. There were pop bottles. There was 2 cent and 5 cent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It was hard not to find a pop bottle if you wanted a candy bar.
Yeah.
A nickel candy bar. Take it in and get you a candy bar. I mean, there's literally money on the street in those days. And then there was places where I could take paper, like in the end of the winter, I'd go around to the old folks' house.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get out. And I said, you want to take your paper? And they said, yeah, I'll take your paper. And I'd take their paper to this mill.
Yeah.
And then they weigh it and pay me money. Shovel snow, cut grass,
Wash windows.
Yeah.
wash windows, whatever the hustle I could do,
We're trying to do it. No, that's nice. I feel like music seems to be a very common theme. Was it just like, whether you were in a band, whether you just like to sing, like was music really the atmosphere of ClarissaSt? What do you?
Well, We had different type of music.
Yeah.
We had Zydeco music,
Okay.
which is French.
Yeah.
So when we were in Louisiana, that's what I grew up with was
Right.
Zydeco.
Yeah.
And then coming here, well, they never taught us how to speak French because they would talk about people,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but my grandmother taught my mother how to speak French. So
Right.
my mother spoke French.
Yeah.
You know, but she never taught us. So, you know, they'd be sitting there just
Yeah.
had no idea what was going on, what they
Mhm.
were saying.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. Mm-mm.
So I mean, they brought a lot of the Creole culture here then, just like being.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, in the restaurant, I mean, that was the whole thing. They spoke French all up in the restaurant. They didn't care if you liked it or not.
Yeah,
You
it's
go
their
someplace
restaurant.
else, and you know, and the food was good. You know, used to get a lot of Kodak. State Street would come over to after it was Pages, because after Lopez closed, just
Pages?
Rita opened Pages.
On
Yeah,
Genesee.
on Genesee Street, and that was the last restaurant was Pages. And she was open. She closed after lunch, and she'd get a lot of the Kodak execs from State Street
Okay.
to come over and get a good,
Yeah.
smothered pork chops,
Yeah.
smothered corn,
Yeah.
cabbage, fried chicken.
Two things now I want to say. If you finish,
Uh-huh.
okay. I have bad memory, and so I'll try to remember both things. First of all, the Louisiana culture.
Yeah.
I'm a licensed nigger, right?
Yep.
They hated me. Her family hated me because I
Yeah.
got nappy hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so that didn't wash with them. Okay, I was white enough, but I didn't have
Good hair.
straight hair.
Yeah.
Good, what they call good hair.
Good hair.
They call good hair.
Good hair.
Yeah.
This is good
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
No, this is good hair.
This is good hair. You don't have to put straightening comb to it. You don't have to do nothing. Just
Yeah.
wash it
I
and set
don't
it
put
and
no
go.
straightening comb to this.
Yeah.
But the music you asked about,
Yeah.
interesting. Of course, the teen dances across the street
Yep.
from where I live, and then there was, as soon as I hit the pavement on Favorite Street, I could hear the Pt2of3
Yeah. Yep.
from where I live.
Yeah.
And then the RIT students would go to the Pt2of3 because RIT was right in that neighborhood. And RIT was another part of our significant growing up, because the RIT students, when they had the winter carnivals or the fall carnivals,
Yeah.
spring, there was no money involved. You had to buy tickets.
Right.
Well, they didn't make us buy tickets. They would give us tickets to play games
Yeah.
to get
something
tickets.
else. Yeah.
And then we could go and get popcorn, hot dog, and drinks and
Right,
stuff like
yeah,
that. So
that's nice.
that was part of the neighborhood too. RIT was part of the neighborhood. In fact, one of my learning lessons was, I cut through people's yards and
Yeah.
jump their fence and all that. And I jumped the fence over there in Cornhill, and I started to run. And this little boy said, "Little boy, would you like some cookies?" Well, yeah, I'd like to have some cookies.
Yeah.
And she gave me cookies and milk. I never crossed her yard again.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
being nice to
That's
me,
good.
it was like, okay, I'll be nice to you.
Yeah.
You don't want me to jump your fence, I won't jump it.
That's beautiful. Find a way to compromise.
Yes.
Was the Third Ward or Cornhill different from other Rochester communities? And what were the demographics of the Third Ward and Clarissa Street? And how did different people interact? Were there really different people? How was that like?
Well, everybody's accepted in the black community.
Right.
Mentally ill, different races. So we had, one of my first playmates was white. In fact, his yard backed up to mine. And then there was a guy named Hawkeye, and they called him Hawkeye. He was about this big.
Yeah.
He probably wrestled 110 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Okay? But he could shoot his ass off with basketball.
Yeah.
Get him first.
Yeah.
Otherwise he's gonna beat you. So I mean, it was I can't say it was an integrated neighborhood, but it was mostly black.
Yeah.
Probably 95% black.
Yeah.
Some Puerto Rican, some white.
I don't remember any Puerto Ricans around going up and down Tremont where
Francine Camacho, remember Francine?
no.
She was my classmate, Francine. So there were Puerto Ricans, but anyway, I'll let you take it.
No, I just I just didn't remember any other nationalities. I think that we had one Sally Hawkins, a white
Hawks.
girl, the Hawks. Yeah,
Hawks,
that was the
Hawks.
only white people that I knew growing up. You know, the rest, you know, it was family.
Yeah, you were saying, the rest was family,
Yeah.
everybody you knew.
I mean,
Up and down the
you have to understand, I mean, when they decide they were going to have a party, they get dressed for the party. They don't come like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the women are dressed with dripping, you know, costume jewelry. And, you know, my mother had dresses that were off the shoulders, and my father had the suits with the big ties with the designs out. So, you know, it was just, and then we were so, I guess the Velots are so different as far as in range of color.
Yeah.
And hair texture and you know, what have you. We didn't really have to go outside of our race or, you know, our culture.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody was there.
Yeah.
You know, when you got into Louisiana, well, you could just forget it. They was all. They were whites, blacks, Creoles, and Cajuns.
Yeah.
So they were, and that was the hierarchy.
Yeah.
And my grandmother said, the man across the street, because he was a white Cajun, he was a Cajun. She said, Carl's daughter married an American. I said, what do you mean? She said, you know what I mean? She married an American. I said, well, Mama, we're all Americans.
Yeah.
She said, you know what I mean. She said, he's not a Frenchman.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay, excuse me. Yeah. No, but it was definitely, and they didn't want the races. They didn't want to mix.
Yeah.
You know, now my mother was looked down on because she married my father, who was dark.
Yeah.
And then she had 2 dark children.
Right.
You know, usually you got one dark, one light.
Yeah.
You know, so we were, you know, so I mean, we were definitely ostracized from the very beginning because we were dark.
Right.
You know, and so you become very, I was intolerant of them, you know, and so they always thought I was bad also, you know, because I just wouldn't allow them to do the things that they would do, and they thought it was okay. I mean, they thought it was okay to sit down and my grandfather thought it was okay to sit down and talk about niggas to a white man while my stepfather was sitting in the truck. And my stepfather was as dark as you were.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine how that would make you feel. Yeah. Yep.
You know, and they're very proud. I mean, Creole, very proud. You know. And they would tell you they were some of the most beautiful women in the world. I had relatives, they never went out the house. The women, my grandmother didn't go out the house.
Yeah.
He went to the store and bought everything. He went and bought her a wig. A wig.
Pick it out.
She couldn't pick her wig. She didn't go to the store. You know, and they farmed and whatever else he needed. When he went to town, he'd get it.
Yeah.
But she never. No.
Yeah.
Just to interject, my wife is 50% Irish. She keeps saying French.
Yeah, 50% Irish. Okay. So how did that play out? I guess
the Irish came in there.
Yeah, the sailors.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and I mean, New Orleans was a big port, so I mean that's where they all came in, and then they dispersed from there. But now, my family roots trace back on my grandfather's side to Burgundy.
Yeah.
So we can go all the way back to Burgundy.
Burgundy, France.
Yeah, France.
And my people were from Mississippi, so we were neighbors.
Yeah.
Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Choke them all. Mississippi. Choke them all. Mississippi.
Yeah. Thinking back about like our communities and leaders in our communities, you talked about the teenagers who were role models. Who were people that you guys looked up to as young people?
My cousins. Bald Raphael. He was the only black man I knew that had a yellow Corvette at 20-some years old.
Yeah.
Living on ClarissaSt Street.
And what was his name? I'm sorry.
Well, his name was Raphael, but we called him Bald.
Okay.
Everybody got a pet name in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That was one thing he found very hard to understand.
Yeah.
Everybody has a pet name. Yeah. So.
Yeah. How about
her grandfather and me had the same pet name, Dee Dee. Both Dee Dee.
Okay.
Then, do you see, so like growing up back then and now like living, like now, do you see like a difference between like the youth and like teens from back then to now?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I don't think that youth now have any outlets. You know, you might not know who you live next to. You know, I mean, people are not that outgoing. You know, I mean, they sort of stick to themselves now, and that really demolishes a community when you don't have people that interact with one another.
Yeah.
It disintegrates the community. You know, people have got to interact. You know, you got to have. You know, the city is a food desert. You know, I tell you, it's a food desert. It's a pharmacy desert. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, they have to go outside their community to get what they want. When we came up, we didn't have to go outside. That's why I said Clarissa Street had a grocery store. Yeah. Hunt's grocery store. You know, I mean, we had you know, you didn't have to go for nothing. Yeah. Cleaners. You know, my aunt had the cleaners. My uncle had the barber shop. Yeah. You know, my other uncle had the, you know, Victor, the whole thing, and the other uncle had the hotel.
Yeah. It's all in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, before it slipped my mind, and it did already.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. So what was the question?
Like
the difference.
Yeah, the difference in youth, yeah.
Well, I grew up, there was never a shot fired. I never heard anybody getting shot.
Yeah.
Okay, there was one stabbing, and I just missed that by a couple of minutes, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Everything else was, you know, we friends. We go to school, walk to school together. Now we might fight coming home.
Yeah.
You know, but next day I'm stopping by your house to pick you up. Let's go.
Right.
You know, we're gonna do it the next day.
Yeah.
There's no animosity. That's the thing that I don't understand today. The anger. Yeah. That's what it seems like. I mean, why do you drive by somebody's house and shoot in the house and strike a kid sitting on the couch with her grandmother? There was no such thing like that. And so you never had to worry about going anywhere because it was dangerous. Because you walked a mile to get to Montgomery Center. I walked a mile to get to Madison. You never had to worry about your child getting home from school or getting to school. That was a big difference. And so we argue about this. Not argue. We talk about junior Fontenay. If we could pay to raise our kids where we lived when we were growing up, we'd pay to do it. The girls didn't have anything to worry about. The guys didn't have nothing to worry about. The old folks were there. We had multi-generational families. St. Lucy's was mixed, Italians and blacks. Madison was Italian, blacks, Poles, and Germans. But they were coming from on the other side of Genesee to Madison. Okay. Not in our neighborhood. But it was just a great place to grow up. Great place, you know, you never had to worry about your kid outside.
Yeah.
They were going to do more harm to themselves than anybody else was going to do to them. I think that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
They were going to do more harm to themselves than anybody else would.
Yeah.
Playing.
Yeah.
That's what you know. You come home with scratches and broken arms and stuff like that, but you didn't come home with no gunshot wounds or dodging bullets. I never heard of anything. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Then, how possible was it to like start a business? Was it like kind of easy to get a loan? And did any white people contribute to the businesses?
No. No. Yeah. Not easy to get a loan.
No, it wasn't easy to get a loan. You go in a bank to get a loan for a house. Now the houses that we lived in were $2,000-$3,000. That's all they cost.
Yeah.
Okay, they were old frame houses. The house I lived in was 1860 or 1860 or something like that. And there was so you go in the bank to buy one of those houses, and they put you through a whole bunch of changes about how you. Well, we need another piece of paper. Well, we got one more page.
Right.
You know, they put you through those changes, and then at the end, well, no, you don't qualify.
Right.
You don't qualify for a $2,000-$3,000 house.
Yeah.
But stop by the auto place. You qualify for a $5,000 Cadillac.
Wow. Yeah. What were the banks that you guys would try to get these loans from?
Well, I didn't try to get by. I was banking at Community Savings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rochester. What was the one on Franklin?
I didn't bank there.
No, but I mean, what's the name of that bank? I think it was Franklin.
Franklin Street. Yeah.
So no, I mean, we were too young coming through. By the time we were ready to get loans, the civil rights movement had happened. Man. So I hit it just right. in '67 when I graduated from Madison.
Right.
Because the 50s, and then they had the 65 legislation, the 66 legislation, and 67, it was still tight. I should mention this. It was still tight in terms of blacks going to school. I only got into Roberts and Fisher.
Yeah, those are
15 SUNY schools rejected me.
Right.
Okay. So I didn't have it.
Yeah. I was gonna ask a follow-up question. Just like with the loans, how was it hard to like find the house even? Like, did you guys find any like restricted covenants in any of these houses that you were looking at, or did you go through any of that at all?
No, that was after her parents.
Yeah, because my parents, as I said, you know, when the boy crossed the street, my daddy was ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, and we and the realtors kept trying to push us towards Henrietta.
Yeah.
My father said, I work at Kodak. I don't want to move to Henrietta. You know, because it's a drive in the wintertime. You know, and he calculated all this sort of stuff. He thought like that. And it was a situation where he said, I lost my train of thought.
Well, didn't the realtor tell your father if you
would
moved
be
to
able
around
to
the corner?
Yeah, if you move any place other than Henrietta, you're not going to be able to eat steak at night, every night. And my father told me, he said, you don't know when I can eat steak. And he said, if I want to eat steak every night, he said, I can afford to eat steak every night.
Yeah.
And he told my mother, get rid of him. I don't want to see him back in my house anymore. We got another realtor. When we moved to Arundecoit, my mother bought that house, went to closing by herself.
Yeah.
By herself. When we got the keys to the house, we went to the house that night and put paper across the windows.
Right.
Do you know they still found out that we were black? Painted on the stop sign, nigga go home.
Wow.
Nigga go home. 1963. So yeah.
And what she didn't mention is the only reason she was able to negotiate that system is her mother looked white. And she could pass for white.
Yeah.
So that's why her father never came to see the house. Her father never saw the house that he bought. Until they got the keys.
There was a strategy. Yeah, no, for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
So the redlining was a problem for the generation before us.
Okay.
I lived in rented houses, and I just mentioned.
Even when we first got married, it was still going on.
Yeah.
We got married in 71.
70.
Yeah.
Thought I had it. I never can remember our anniversary. He said, who can't remember your anniversary?
People were having fun.
Yeah. So I was saying,
Mm.
okay, I forgot.
I was going to say that we could afford to live in the third ward. It was $30 a month rent.
Wow. I wish that was right now.
Yeah, no, we had a toilet and a tub, but we didn't have a sink in the bathroom, and we didn't have hot water. They had a hot water tank.
Yeah.
You know, now you have it's automatic.
Yeah.
But we had to light it.
And
Like on Saturday night, when it's time to take a bath.
Yeah.
You had to light it.
And the water come through the faucet.
Yeah, hot water will come through the faucet,
Yeah.
and so that's how we got hot water. But during the week, if you didn't light it, and like in the morning, you don't have time for it to heat up.
Yeah, before you
gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had to even go shovel coal or something to
Oh
keep
yeah,
the
we had
furnace
coal.
cold.
Yeah, we had coal furnace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of those houses around Clarissa Street, they were just old. And I mean, and you had furnaces, you know, you had to go down there and shovel coal.
Yeah.
And you don't want that furnace to go out.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, and especially with these winters. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, are there any other memories that you have from like that time that really stand out that you want to share?
I guess my memories are mostly of the Velat women, you know, because they were just a lot of unsung heroes, and they were raised to stay in their place. You know, you cooked, you cleaned, you had children, you know, you cared for your children.
Right.
When they moved here, the women started going out and getting real jobs and interacting in the world, the real world, as they came up north. but in Louisiana, no. And we go to at the end of the harvest, they'd have a zydeco, which was like a dance and food and they had had the little sugar cane queens, different levels. My grandmother said, "You want to be a queen?" I said, "No." Oh, they had the little candy curls. I was like, "No." We were talking about teasing, and candy curls. I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to be nothing. No, thank you. Watching is good enough for me." But just to see people, I guess, just have so little but have so much in community, in the sense of who they are, and proud. They would never take handouts. No. No. I mean, because my mother left school in 8th grade. She got married to my daddy. She turned around. She did day work. She went to clean people's houses. And she did that for years until she finally went to work in the factory. And when she quit working, she was working for our communications in their top secret department, where they were making the consoles for jet planes.
Yeah.
So good. I had a good childhood. It was a little bit different than his, because I had. And he was. They were struggling. And I didn't know. I never knew. He came and we were having T-bone or porterhouse steaks one night, and you know how they had the fat on it?
Yeah.
He ate the fat, and we were like, "You eat the fat! You eat the fat!" And he was like, "Well, yeah." And I was like, "Ugh." He's like,
I was low on the hog.
Yeah, that's even many years later. He said, "I was hungry."
Yeah.
And my mother would send him home with a plate at night on Sunday evenings, because he could only come out on Sundays to visit. And she'd send him home with a plate every Sunday night.
That's beautiful.
The other thing that was about the neighborhood is that professionals lived in that community. So you saw lawyers, you saw doctors,
Dr. Lunsford,
Jordan and Lunsford.
He lived in the community.
And you saw your teachers, the black teachers, and which was very painful for me. So my mother went to the store one night and ran into one of my teachers.
Oh, and they found out about you.
She came home.
Yeah.
She had a talk with me. But that was the thing about the neighborhood. You could run into lawyers, doctors, your teachers, that was what was nice about the neighborhood. Everybody, like she said, everybody knew everyone, so